So today I'm going to show you how to do a V-stitch square, which is a really nice effective pattern and it's really easy to do. So once you get the hang of it, you can just keep going bigger and bigger with your square. I'm going to use the Stylecraft Special Candy Swirl today. This is in the colour Coconut Ice. I really like this for this kind of project because you don't have to worry about changing colour, it just does it for you and you end up with a really nice effect to it. You will need your crochet hook for this particular brand of yarn. It recommends a 4mm, but I'm going to use a 5mm today. You will need a pair of scissors and a darning needle to sew in your end. So you want to start your project by creating a slip knot, and you can do this in whichever method you prefer. You want to insert your crochet hook and we're going to begin by chaining 4. So that's yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through. So this is your foundation chain and we're going to make this into a circle. So we're going to insert our hook into this very first chain. You're going to grab the yarn and pull through both loops on the hook, and then you have your circle. So when we're working here, we want to make sure that we are working into the very center circle and not into the chain that we've just done. So a V-stitch is going to consist of treble crochets. Treble crochet is a UK term, so in the US this is known as a double crochet. So what we need to do first of all is get to the height of our treble crochet, and we're going to chain 3 to do this. So 1, 2 and 3. Now a V-stitch is going to be a treble crochet, a chain 1 and a treble crochet. So this is going to class as our first treble crochet, and then we need to do another chain 1 so that we have 4 chains in total to begin with. We're then going to start with our actual treble crochets, and remember that we are working into this center circle. Don't be tempted to work into the chain. So to do our first treble, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the center circle, grab the yarn and pull it through. You'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through just 2 loops on the hook, you'll be left with 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over, pull through 2. So that is our first V-stitch, and we're actually going to do 4 sets of these in total for the centre of our square, separated by some corner sections. So this V-stitch is going to class as one of the sides. We now need to do the corner, and to do a corner we chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. So it really helps to imagine in your head exactly what you're doing here. So as I say, this is going to be the side, and then we're just doing the corner, and then we're going to work on the top section now. So we're going to do another V-stitch, which is treble, a chain 1 and a treble. We are going to leave this piece of yarn either out the way if you want to leave it out the way, or I just press it down around this circle piece here so that I'm actually crocheting it in as I go along. So we'll go ahead and do our treble crochet. So yarn over, insert the hook into the center circle, yarn over, pull through, you will have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, you'll have 2 loops on the hook, and yarn over, pull through 2. So that's our first treble, chain 1, and then do another treble. So that is our second V-stitch. We've got 1 here, a chain 3 for the corner and a V-stitch. I'm going to turn it round again so that I can work my corner. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do another V-stitch. So treble crochet into the very center circle. So that's 1 treble, chain 1 and another treble crochet. And that is the next side done. I'm going to turn my work, do my corner, and then do the last V-stitch. So treble crochet, chain 1 and treble crochet. Turn the work again, and then you know that you're working on your last corner. 1, 2, 3, and at this point we want to connect the corner to the very first V-stitch that we did. Now if you remember, this was almost an artificial treble crochet because we wanted to get to the height, so this is our original chain. You want to count up from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, and insert your hook into the third chain from the bottom. Grab the yarn and pull through both loops on the hook, and there you have the basis of your square. So we have the corners here and then the 4 V-stitches. So at this point we want to get to the height of a treble again. So we're going to go 1, 2 and 3. This is actually going to be the last half of the last treble of this round, so we're just going to ignore this for a moment and then start off by doing a V-stitch in between the V-stitch from the previous row. So just ignore this for now, and then we're going to start off with the V-stitch. So if you have a look at your V, you've got your chain 1 in between. That's the space where we need to work. So we're going to go yarn over, insert into that space and do a treble, chain 1, and then do your treble into that same space again. So we're doing a V-stitch in the center of the V-stitch from the previous row. We obviously want our square to get bigger, so we're also going to do a V-stitch into this corner section. So a treble, a chain 1 and a treble. So this is the finish of this side. We'll finish it off when we go all the way around. We now want to do our corner. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then we're also going to do another V-stitch into this corner. So there's always going to be a V-stitch, a chain 3 and a V-stitch into the corner sections, and that's what makes your square get larger the more rows that you add. So again, a treble, a chain 1 and a treble. And the pattern is pretty much going to continue in this way. So we're going to do a V-stitch in the center of the V-stitch from the previous row. So V-stitch in here, a treble, a chain 1 and a treble. Oops. We don't do a chain 1 in between each V-stitch, we just go straight into the V-stitch. So we're now in the corner, and the formula for the corner is a V-stitch, so a treble, a chain 1 and a treble. I'm going to twist my work at this point so I know that I'm going into the corner, chain 3 for the corner and then do a treble, a chain 1 and a treble, which creates our V-stitch. So you're going to do that all the way around. So obviously I'm here again, I'm going to do my treble, my chain 1 and my treble into the previous V-stitch and then the corner. So I'm going to continue talking you through this particular round, but hopefully you should be picking up the pattern by now. So in this corner we're going to do a V-stitch, which is a treble, a chain 1 and a treble. I'm going to do the corner, 1, 2, 3, so a chain 3 and then a V-stitch, treble, chain 1 and a treble. We've got to the V-stitch from the previous row, so we do our V-stitch in there, a treble, a chain 1 and a treble. And now in this very last corner you notice that we have the chain 3, which I told you to ignore in the beginning. So we're just going to start off as normal. So you're going to do your V-stitch, your treble, your chain 1 and your treble. You're going to chain 3 for the corner, and then here we want to do 1 treble, chain 1, and then this chain 3 from the beginning of the round is classing as our next treble. So we want to just slip stitch into the third chain from the bottom, and that completes our second round. So make sure that you are familiarising yourself with where the corners are, because this is where some people can get confused. So at this point we want to chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3. That is going to class as the last treble of this round, so we ignore that for the moment. We take a look at where our trebles are. So just be mindful that the trebles that are going into the corners might actually slide out slightly, so you just want to bring that in so you can see that that is a V-stitch. We have a V-stitch here, and then we have another V-stitch here. So we're going to be working in between all of those V-stitches. So from this point we're going to go straight into this V-stitch from the previous row, so with our treble, our chain 1 and our treble. So that is a V-stitch. We then want to go into this one. So we're not going into the upside down V's, we're going into the right way up V's, into the chain 1 space. So we'll go into this chain 1 space and do a treble, a chain 1 and a treble. Now we're in the corner, and as I said before from the last round, your formula for the corner is exactly the same. So we're going to do a V-stitch, a treble, a chain 1 and a treble. Twist your work when you're doing the corner just so you can keep track of where you are. You're going to chain 3 for the corner and then do a treble into that corner space again with a chain 1 and a treble to create your V-stitch. So you're at the side again and you've got 3 trebles this time. Each row will build by 2 trebles, so your next round will actually be 5 V-stitches, and then you'll keep adding 2 for each round that you do. So just to recap, I'll show you this one last edge. You're going to do your V-stitch into the V from the previous row, and then move over onto the next one, which is the right way up V just here, and do your V-stitch and move on to the next one, and then finally into the corner. You would twist your work, chain 3 for the corner, and then start your row again by doing your V-stitch into the corner space. So that is your basic principle of your V-stitch square. I'm going to pause the video here, finish off this round and just show you one last time how you would finish off the round and what you would do with this last chain 3. So I'm going to pause the video and work my way all the way round, and if you want to do that too, so pause the video and meet me back in the very last corner and I'll show you one last time how to finish off this row to move on to your next row. So I'm just in my corner section here. I've already done 1 V, my chain 3, and I'm going to do another V-stitch, and then that will bring us over to the section where we have starting chain 3 from this row. So I'm going to do a treble in this space, chain 1, and this one counts as the next treble, and I'm going to insert my hook into the top of the chain 3 and slip stitch, and that has completed the 3rd round. I would chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and then simply move back over into the next V space doing my V-stitch. So that is how you would do your V-stitch square. As I showed you earlier, this yarn is really nice because it changes colour for you, and as I also mentioned, each row is going to get bigger by 2 V-stitches each time you build. So we've got 1 V here, the next row has 3 V's on the side, the next row has 5, etc. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to keep up to date with any of my latest videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you again next time. Bye!